Please welcome Phyllis Frempong. How are you?
Good. How are
I'm
you?
great. Thank you for coming on and joining us for Fibroid Awareness.
Well, I so appreciate you guys for having me on here. When it comes to uterine fibroids, there's just not enough awareness, and that drives my passion for living this day in and day out, empowering and coaching women on how to eat, think, and work out in order to prevent and or manage uterine fibroids to live their best mindfully through my womb wellness programs. They entail really helping women with a personalized regimen. And there's one way to look up, how to change your lifestyle, how to change your diet, but it may not work for you. And what I do is I help you figure out the right foods, customized workouts that are catered to help facilitate pain relief, also hormonal fat, as BMI plays a huge role in the development of fibroids.
Okay.
Also, how to change your mindset. A lot of, especially melanated women, we sometimes are following generational patterns that our parents, our ancestors are doing. So that in itself, as well as racism playing a factor, we have to change our mindset. So my program is very comprehensive. It's a functional approach, and that's what sets me apart versus whether it be other programs out there, really having the mind, the body, the workouts, the food, all of that included in the program, and really working between your doctor's appointments. So for me, I'm not just coming from a coach, but I am one that has been through this journey. I was diagnosed with uterine fibroids 12 years ago, and what uterine fibroids are, they are non-cancerous tumors or masses that can be in and or around the uterus and cause symptoms. And
Yeah.
it's crazy because up to 80% of women will get fibroids, right? But up to 20% actually get the symptoms, right? So
Okay.
you have this huge silent pandemic that's happening, but this small demographic, a majority melanated women that are dealing with this silently. So knowing that some of the symptoms are not limited to heavy cycles, and it is dependent on the type of fibroid you have. For most, I would say, African women like myself, sometimes it can be more so the bloating factor and the pain factor, right?
Okay.
But for African Americans, sometimes it could be more of the heavy bleeding and the low energy. Now, this is just something I've seen in my experience and also witness, but every woman is different. So, urinary frequency, back pain, bloating, all of that stuff is not normal. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But these are some of the things that women experience during their menstrual cycle. So how exactly, I mean, I'm Phyllis, right? Frempong?
Yes.
And it's 12 years ago, and I'm now discovering like, oh shit, I have fibroids. Like how were you able to differentiate? Like, this is not my menstrual cycle. This is actually something totally different. Because right now I just got off my period and I definitely had lower back pain. My first 2 days was heavy bleeding. So how would I be able to know the difference? Or how were you able to?
That's such a profound question. So the thing is, that is the thing, that is the issue. And I was diagnosed 12 years ago because I asked for an ultrasound. So I did witness my mom go through the journey of suffering with uterine fibroids. I was a tender age of 8. And
Wow.
yeah. And being in a Ghanaian household with culture and everything, she of course, didn't talk about it. And it was even more so on a level where just being at your lowest point was seen as weak. I felt like she didn't really know how to express what was going on with her and just did whatever the doctor told her. She ended up getting a partial hysterectomy, which is pretty much removing some of her uterine parts
Yeah.
in to as the doctor suggested. So that's what I remember as a child. So fast forward, I'm in nursing school and, reflecting back on that experience. And then I may have learned some things in nursing school, but knowing that I had heavy cycles, bloating, pain, low energy,
Yeah.
I expressed that to the doctor. And she even mentioned that, oh, that's just, she really brushed me off. But you know what? Something told me, it was like, you know what? Can I have an ultrasound?
Please and thank you.
He said, what?
Please and thank you.
Exactly, right? And she's like, why would you need that? I was like, well, my mom had fibroids. I just want to make sure that I am not in the same situation. And so to answer your question is if you're having any of these symptoms, I would suggest that.
Get an ultrasound.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's like I feel that every woman will get uterine fibroids until proven otherwise, because sometimes you just don't know. You have to make sure, right? So, and up to 40% of women will get fibroids and not have any symptoms, right? So, that's how I knew that. And when the results came back, and I had a quarter-sized fibroid on my uterus. And
wow.
Yeah, and the doctor told me to just monitor it, and that's what I did. So
there wasn't any like medication or prescriptions or even I want to say holistic remedies, but I'm sure we're going to get into that soon, that the doctor clearly did not give to you. So when did you start making the changes? Like, all right, this is what I need to do to lift myself, not necessarily out of it, because from what I've read, that it doesn't just go away.
No, it doesn't just go away.
So how do you work with it?
Right. So knowing that the doctors just said monitor it, I want to tell women listening, if you have a similar situation, you've just been diagnosed, fibroids are pretty small, that is your opportunity to either get some guidance, someone like myself, or start making these lifestyle changes, and I'll go through more of that. Because when they're smaller, there's more opportunity for a bigger change with a lifestyle, change. So going from there, I was able to, so I was told that, and I went on with my life, right? Just back into the same lifestyle, stress. Yeah. Sometimes as women, we want to everything and all things, right? And years went by. I kind of ignored the fibroids. I got my pap smears and stuff like that, but it wasn't until like about I would say 8 years later.
8 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how much I sat on it and was in denial. So yeah, I'll get to that part, but
yes. So 8 years later.
8 years later, right? Mm-hmm. It was the most stressful part of my life. I got into a relationship, long distance relationship with this guy, and that was not helping things, right? And this time I was a person, because I went through bodybuilding as well.
Okay, so you were always into fitness.
I was always into fitness. And the thing is, at that point, I don't think fitness helped me.
Okay.
I don't think fitness helped me as much as it should have, just due to the mindset I was in. So living at the expense of everyone else. So not only was I a personal trainer, but I was a nurse working night shift. I was competing, and that was
doing everything.
Yeah, doing everything. I was putting more stress on my body than anything. And so the boyfriend, work, all of that stuff. And then I went out with, it was a night that I went out with some friends until I started to really wake up and come back in the present, right? Is when my friends and we took a picture and I was going to post it or whatever. And then I looked at my abdomen. I'm like, I look pregnant, and it was like, it took that long and a picture for me to say, you know what? Something ain't right.
Oh shit. Okay, so did anybody ever, like, even your mom, like, did somebody ever reach out to you and be like, "Hey sis, I noticed something there." Like, did anybody um confront you or address you about it, or was it very like, "Oh, this is just her body."
Yeah, I don't think, see, no one, at least no one said anything to me. So that time I was competing. So my body, I had a, you know, musculature look, I had fit body, all of that.
Got you. Okay.
So it was hard to tell for
But it was
someone,
something you noticed.
something I noticed, right?
Got you. Okay.
Um, then at that point, I was like, it can't be the fibroids that I ignored for the last 8 years.
8 years. Yeah, yeah.
So I talked myself into going back to the doctor and getting an
Mhm.
ultrasound, and that was when I was told that one fibroid had progressed to four, the largest one being almost 9 centimeters, so about the size of a mango.
Wow. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm gonna try to stop saying wow, but I'm sure you're gonna say a lot of incredible things to me, and I'm just gonna be like, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the size of a mango. What did you do with that information?
I went into depression.
Yeah.
I bawled out crying, ran out of the doctor's office. He immediately went into medications, surgeries, all of this stuff that I can do. I just blacked out. I mean, I didn't even, I mean, the information was so fast, so much. I mean, I didn't even get to digest what has happened in my body.
Mhm.
So I literally went into hiding for about a month, just stayed to myself. And I don't know, one day I woke up, and I think it's just something beyond me. I can never really explain what happened, but
Yeah.
I just felt like I was being talked to by some higher force that, you know what, you can't continue to live your life like this unless you're going to be going down a deep, deep hole that you can't get out of. So I responded to that, and I feel like it was a spiritual thing, maybe just my ancestors, something that really spoke to me while I was laying in bed, and just pain and suffering about everything that's going on. I was like, let me just start making some moves.
Yeah.
So start getting up, start getting myself ready, start doing some of the things that I was doing. And I remember just scrolling through the internet and listening to or catching Joe Dispenza, a motivational speaker, philanthropist, scientist. He bridges spirituality and science. But I heard him speak and I got more involved in his teachings, as well as Jewel Pookrum and Queen Afua. So I would say those three people were key inspirations in my journey. As I was just by myself. No one really knew what was going on, and I found hope through their philosophies, and I was able to come up with my own and get the motivation to really turn my home into a lab and start trying things out, from the way I was eating to the way I was thinking. I really changed the environment in my home to a more empowering environment
Mm.
where I started to birth creative things that I can do to overcome the heavy bleeding, the pain, and just the havoc that my body was going through. So that,
Right, right.
yeah, I'll stop there if you had any.
No, I'm honestly just mesmerized knowing that you were able to go through teachings to gain some inspiration and then say, okay, now this is how I'm going to come up with my own ideologies and personalize it to make it work for me. I think my next question more so is, what can you say are like the top three things have really helped you? Like, I would like to think now we don't have a mango size anymore, but you can tell me different. Has it become smaller since you started following those teachings and creating your own path?
Yes, absolutely. So, from the way that I think and the way that we move doing workouts, as I came from the bodybuilding world, knowing that as women, sometimes vigorous, high intensity workouts all the time is not necessary for our body, our temple. So, making womb wellness workouts is something I created, which are more intentional, mindful exercises that really cater to women with uterine fibroids. And then the last thing is nutrition. So really changing the way I eat to a perspective of teaching women it's not really what you're eating, but what your body's doing with what you're eating. So those three components really make up the foundation of my program. So following that consistently in a progressive manner, as well as adding in when it's needed, the natural remedies like castor oil packs, yoni steaming, herbal supplements, and making sure that is done in a progressive manner. After about a year, I was able to dissolve a 4 centimeter fibroid. So that literally lost blood supply and it died. It was confirmed on an ultrasound.
Nice. So you went to the doctor after a year and you found out that this is no longer like 9 centimeter mango size fibroid.
Right. So so I had four. So one of them dissolved, and then the mango size went down to 7. And then I have a 6 centimeter and a 3 centimeter that I'm currently managing. So those results came in about a year of consistently doing the regimen I developed for myself.
Okay.
I would say to women that when it comes to this journey, it does take investment. It does take time and consistency. So if those three things are not in your realm, it's definitely something to think about. And think about it as doing it integrating it along with whatever decisions you're looking to make, right? Because this journey, personalized regimen, is not really an option. It's a necessity, as uterine fibroids can be a chronic condition for most people. And what I say is that even though you go get them removed, procedures, there is the chance for reoccurrence. And personally, I think the numbers are very high when it comes to reoccurrence. And that is why my program is aimed to help women prevent and manage this condition. So for me, I was able to eliminate the chaos that feeds the fibroids, right? So heavy cycles, going from 8 pads a day on my heaviest days. Now I'm lucky if it's 2 pads, right?
Wow.
And not dealing with any pain anymore, and bloating gone, and just living my best life, managing fibroid warrior all day long, right? And I really want women to focus on, it's not literally the fibroid itself. It's a symptom of a bigger problem in your body. So let's eliminate the chaos that's associated with it, and what I do through my womb wellness programs, because that is something a surgery or procedure cannot fix.
For those who are watching, I really want you to go to fibroidqueen.com because it's an amazing site. We have nutrition, we have yoga, we have wellness, we have the womb challenges, fibroid prevention. But I think what I would love to hear you talk about is like maybe a top 3 things that we can advise women, especially that are in your challenges, which you have suggested in the past and now, What are like top three things that women you feel like should work on right now? And it could be anything, whether it's food or fitness. What is something that they should work on to start dissolving the fibroids?
Yes. So something you can do today is take a look at what you're eating and see how you can minimize. I say not eliminate because sometimes that's just impossible for some people.
Yes, I realized you said the word dissolve, and I like that because it just shows like it's just decreasing. Doesn't mean that it's not there. It's just not as much.
Right, right. And the 4 centimeter one is no longer there. But
Mhm.
in regards to the other ones, they have shrunk, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, that's just not the main focus, as you said. The main focus is starting with things that you can do now to establish harmony in your body. One,
Yes.
lowering the inflammation. So, what do I mean? Processed foods, foods that, for most part, you have to put in the
Microwave.
microwave,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and sugar, high starch foods like white rice. I know in our culture, white rice was something I ate every day as a child.
Every day.
So that can cause a lot of inflammation in the body. So stick with foods that are more darker in color, like quinoa, black rice, purple rice. Those are ways to go. Second thing is dairy. If you can minimize the dairy, ice cream, regular milk. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's me.
You know what it is? I just know for a fact that I just learned that my body, I guess also it has something to do with age as well. And I think you should definitely write a book about that. But after 25, it just something happens to your body where it's just like, nope, can't eat that. Nope, can't drink that. No, you shouldn't have that. Like I tried ice cream or just had ice cream randomly one day and my body was like, oh, sorry.
Right,
You
right.
can't just like indulge in this anymore. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So dairy is something I had to cut out, and it's not because I wanted to, but it's genuinely like my body doesn't like it anymore. So, yes, I totally understand. Continue dairy, the sugar,
Yes.
which is something I think as a lot of us, and not because it's I don't want to say it's hard, but you don't realize how many things have sugar in it until you're just like, oh, this has a ton of sugar in it, um, or unless we're just making the foods or the drinks ourselves and we're pouring sugar and we can see how much sugar we're using, but it's literally everything has sugar in it, and going like the fresh route is the only route that you can really go at this point.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is, I definitely believe in having some flexibility in this lifestyle, following the 80/20 rule. That's what I preach to my clients. But, really focusing on, minimizing the inflammation, the sugar, and then the last is any hormonal activity in the foods that you're eating. Now, for the most part, as you can relate, eating meat was a big staple in our food, right? And if that's where you're at right now, you're coming from 7 days a week of meat and poultry, whatever. You know what? Bring it down a notch. Maybe go 5 days, right? Then 3 days. But if you're ready to take a break from that, go ahead and take a break and replace it with more plant-rich protein, lentils, beans. I would encourage you to soak it though. Soak it, sprout it. That
Getting
way,
dry beans specifically, right? Like instead of using it out of the can.
yeah, that would be better as well. But and just soaking it because it does have a ingredient in it that will cause most people to bloat. So being
Interesting.
able to soak it, the beans can eliminate or decrease some of the bloating that comes with it. So that's high in protein.
Do you
One,
suggest soaking it in just water, like water and salt, vinegar?
yeah, that's a good question. So I would encourage you to soak it with a carrot in there. I say a carrot because it can really soak up a lot of the chemicals in it that causes the digestive discomfort. So yes, fill it past so whatever you put it in a bowl, fill it up with water, and then add the carrot as well as maybe a tablespoon of white vinegar.
Okay, noted.
Yeah.
Granted, I do not have fibroids, but I follow your wellness path. I feel like it would be good for anybody.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like a way of life for anybody who just wants a better mindset, like a transformation all through and through, getting their chakras aligned. So I'm listening because I would totally take this back to my own kitchen. So as far as Phyllis, you just pretty much told me everything I needed to know, but I wanted to hear like, what are some of the myths that people have about fibroids and what's some awareness that we can really bring to the table and like set it straight? Like, this is not true. Like, it's okay. Cause I've read some, even towards like you were talking about earlier, getting a hysterectomy, like, you don't necessarily need to do that. Like, that's not the route that you have to go if you are diagnosed with fibroids. So please share some that you're just like, no, this is not true. You're going to be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you asked that. So, one myth I want to go with is the whole uterine fibroids is it just being there and it being in correlation with cancer or anything like that. And just know the rate of fibroids turning into cancer is like below 1%. Like it can never happen. And the thing is, it's not the fibroids itself, but they can be in the way of a cancer that may be growing on or around your uterus is really the issue. And for that happening, the risks are very low, especially if you don't have a family history. So the focus again is really eliminating the chaos in your body, and know that there are women out there thriving that may have fibroid lesions on their uterus and may not have any symptoms at all. So knowing that, getting them removed or surgery does not guarantee them from growing back, but really getting the support or you really focusing on you and getting a lifestyle that works for you can really prevent the reoccurrence. That's one myth. So cancer and fibroids don't go together. Second thing is knowing that every fibroid is different from the next fibroid in a woman's body. So, a woman has two fibroids. They're different. They're different makeups. Okay. So, what I mean is knowing that Western medicine deals with us kind of the same. It's standard protocols, standard treatments. That is not really, we're not fitting into any box right now. We can't fit into, the vegan lifestyle. We can't fit into, this treatment, that treatment. So it's time for us ladies to really speak up and really get personalized with what we want in our life. Not just the regimen, but mentally. Are you at the job that you want to be at? Are you doing the things that you want to do? Are you living the feminine being that you are? I mean, this diagnosis goes deeper than, oh my God, let's just get them out. Let's just get these aliens out. Something's going on that may have started from your ancestors that have been passed down to you that still hasn't been released, that is living in your womb.
Wow.
So being diagnosed with fibroids was a way for me to transform my life. I accepted, I've taken self-responsibility, and I feel like a lot of women get so vulnerable at this point where they're like, help me, help me, help me, but not knowing a lot of the power is already within you, right? You have it. You have the power to change your situation more than anybody else would. Right.
You mentioned Queen Afua, and I wanted to know what's something that you feel like you definitely have taken away from her teachings.
I would say there's so many. I mean,
I know the Sacred Woman is just like a whoa, sis. But I would love to hear your perspective on it and how you've implemented it into your life.
through her teachings, I learned that I wasn't living the life that I was supposed to be living. I
Okay.
learned that I was living for someone else. I was the oldest growing up and daddy's girl. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do what daddy says. And growing up with certain beliefs and attitudes that were instilled in me, but that was not something that I was truly for. Where I grew up Christian, I identify more as a spiritual person, but I wasn't living the life I was supposed to be living, and it took this journey. It took something tragic, what I see being diagnosed as something tragic at the time, to really make this transformation. And I would say from Queen Afua's teaching is that, you know what, are you really happy? Asking yourself that. Are you really happy? Are you, is this the legacy you want to leave for yourself? Generational, the generational patterns that were given to you, is that something you're going to continue to pass on? Because I believe I was a chosen one. I ended up with uterine fibroids. My sister did not. And I believe I was chosen to change the game for my offspring. So
I also feel like a question that most of us don't answer is, and this is something I've had to do in my personal life, is do you want to be happy?
that's a good one.
Because we can say like, hey, you should choose happiness, but it's like, do you actually want happiness? And if you do, what does that look like for you? Because of whatever we're dealing with in our life, our current condition, whether it's work, family, school, the careers, the money, whatever it is that we're chasing materialistically, like, is it going to sustain us emotionally and mentally? Another thing I wanted to ask you before we go, in terms of like your own client success, what's something that you've taken away and from one of your clients and you're like, wow, I really did that, like as a coach, as a holistic wellness coach, like it's made you, you've been doing this for, I want to say 8 years, even though it happened to you 12 years ago, but it's been almost a decade. Like, what's something that you've been like, wow, even during we just had a pandemic, like, and I'm sure a lot of people wanted to get back into fitness. A lot of people wanted to get into nutrition, even if they've never touched a book in terms of health and wellness. What's one of the things that your clients, even if it's a testimony, where you just had to look at that and you're like, wow, I really was able to help this person?
Yeah. If it's okay, I would like to give two quick scenarios.
Yeah.
But I had one woman, she joined my program. She had a myomectomy, and her goal was to prevent reoccurrence. And she did my program for about 6 months, and she got a repeat ultrasound, and it indicated that there was no sign of growth, and she was ready to conceive. And I felt like
that gave me chills.
I felt like it wasn't me. It was just more so I was just able to help her connect the dots, was able to figure her own path. So that was one. And the second scenario was a client. She has never had any surgeries or procedures. She wanted to do 100% natural. And 6 months into the program, she really had these profound thoughts about the people she was hanging with. She noticed that her body was molding into a way she was wanting to, what she was envisioning as far as losing weight. She carried a lot of weight in her hips. And through the workouts and her determination, really got her results where she lost weight and also was able to realize that she needed to change her circle of people that she was surrounding herself with. So I say all this to say this journey can be so just epic, that different things will come to you at different times, but you're aware, you're present to see actually happening. So,
I feel like with the woman who was able to have a baby, I would have cried just listening to that story, or actually being there for that. So, in the moment when she told you she was able to have kids, how did you receive that?
yeah. I wasn't surprised, as I
Mm.
know the manifestation is something I really truly believe. Saying what you want and throwing it out into the environment, and it coming right back to you. So I kind of expected that to happen, but I guess what was so empowering to me was that she just was a different woman than when she started. She felt so like she owned her doctor's appointment when she went. You know,
Hmm.
she
And
was,
she's like, I know what's going on in my body.
yes,
You're just
yes,
like the second opinion.
exactly. So
Okay.
that is what really, gave me those same chills you're feeling.
I think also something you had mentioned earlier about this journey being personalized for you. I think we as a people, we like to, when we do get into working out, we're like, okay, let's find the best program that works for us. Let's jump on it. We're going to be consistent. And then we find ourselves doing, okay, we're going to upper body on Monday, lower body on Tuesday, upper body on Thursday, lower body on Friday. And then we do the same thing next week. And it's just like, as a woman, I know that during my menstrual cycle, I don't want to work out. Like, I actually don't want to do any of this. And I think many fitness coaches don't really talk about that. Like, and especially if you're dealing with fibroids, like, it's a lot happening to my body. So consistency is not necessarily what I'm searching for. I just need the motivation to actually get up and be. So what would you say to women who are consistent, but they just dealing with their own bodies on a day-to-day basis? Like, how do you fix that? How do you cope with that? How do you still get up and do the workout knowing that um, you're just having your cycle?
Yeah. And cycles for me, actually, my in my mind, it came today, is a way of celebration. And it took me a long time to get to this point, obviously, but and it's easy for me to say as I'm not dealing with any symptoms, half of what I was dealing with before, but
Before, right?
it is, even back in the day, we used to celebrate these times that with other women when we had our cycle. And now it's more of a thing that we just want to avoid and all that, especially when you're dealing with symptoms. So the thing is, if you are really address the lifestyle tips that I kind of shared earlier to really address the inflammation that's causing your uterus to, give you those pushback.
Bloating and okay, got you.
Yeah, and the symptoms that come with PMS, the better you're going to feel. And then, secondly, when I'm on my cycle, it's a time for me to slow down, as you said, meditate, and really embrace the moment and of doing nothing. you know,
Yes.
really being okay with that. And if I have more energy, which I normally do, I like to do yoga. And there's a certain types of movements that really help open up the pelvic floor, help it relax, and things like that. But other than that, really just take your time, do some journaling, do some self care, and just embrace and remain present. Whatever makes you feel good, I would say, just focus on that.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. Right. So I know we're talking to everybody, but this is obviously about me, right? Um, During the times that you are feeling like you are not able to get up and get into your fitness or hit your yoga journey or begin it again, do you ever tell your clients maybe they should go start fasting? Is that ever a thing? Like maybe you should take a break and just do juicing and sit in a meditative state? Because it's just in terms of women wanting to get their bodies together or just their chakras aligned, fasting is usually like a go-to. Like maybe if I just even like religiously, like there are some groups where they go to fasting to receive the higher connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think that there's some prep work, prerequisites to getting to that point because you don't want to go from a meat eating diet to, maybe a little bit of fast food every now and then, and all of that stuff, and then go the next day you're fasting because your body's like, oh, wait, what happened? And that can actually leave you malnourished. But I do prepare my clients for fruit fasts and different types of fasts when their bodies are ready. We work through a system. And then,
Okay.
yes,
Because I
absolutely.
was genuinely wondering if you recommended that
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
Yes, absolutely. If you're prepared for it, that is the best way, as you said, to really heighten your consciousness, being able to
Hmm.
clean out the impurities and give your digestive system a rest. We constantly eating and going and stress. That system is just working nonstop, and to be able to stop and really focus on nutritious food or just taking a break can go a long way.
Thank you so much, Phyllis. I appreciate you giving me all your great tools and tips. I hope that everybody goes to fibroidqueen.com and check out the entire page. It's really good stuff. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we head out?
Yeah, I love what you said earlier that, again, that you're going to take some of this and, run with it because, again, this is something all women need to know. And not only that, look into ways to strengthen your pelvic floor because I know that even when it comes to fibroids and conceiving, a lot of things that we sit on, the middle of our body has a lot of pressure to. We're not working those ligaments. You're exercising, you're jumping, your uterus is like, oh my God. So definitely do
Yes.
exercises that incorporate the pelvic floor. So other than that, Instagram, I'm mostly on there if you want to check out some of the things I put out at Fibroid Queen. But I enjoyed you and thanks again for inviting me.
Of course. Thank you, Phyllis. Have an amazing week. And yeah, we will stay in touch.
Peace and blessings. Thank you.
Yeah. A special thanks to our special guest, Phyllis Frempong, aka the Fibroid Queen, for taking the time out to speak with us about such an important topic.